What is going on, guys? Money Webby here, back again on Thursday. We got a 3-game slate here tonight. Definitely small, but still, we got some solid pitchers on the board. Some really good hitters with this Cleveland lineup and stuff like that. So I got to narrow down for you with my money six of my favorite plays on the board. Again, some tough luck yesterday. The DFS gods kind of slapped me in my face by the two guys that really had huge nights were Ohtani and Trevor Story. And in my plays, I recommended Calhoun, who was like the who's like the second best lefty in that lineup. And then I recommended Arenado, who's like kind of the second best, I guess, guy against lefties, or he could be the best sometimes, to Trevor Story. So like I pretty much picked like the wrong guy in both of those games. Because Story went deep 3 times and Ohtani went deep twice. So that was kind of annoying. I was trying to go with a more value guy rather than the people that just went absolutely off. So that was a big slap in the face from the DFS gods last night. But let's see if we finally can get some good fortune on this small slate with my money 6. So go ahead and drop a like in the video before we get going. I think this video and then tomorrow's video on Friday's slate will be my final 2 videos of the MLB season, so I can really focus in on my NFL videos and kind of not cloud up my videos on my YouTube channel. So hopefully we can end the season off with a good note. So let's just get into it, though. First guy up, I'm going to go with Greinke here. One of the safest guys on the slate going against Atlanta. This Atlanta lineup isn't too scary against right-handed pitchers, at least I believe, because Ozzie Albies, he's really been struggling against right-handed pitchers. So that kind of limits the upside of the lineup, like Acuna and Freddie Freeman are their biggest concerns. But Greinke has been solid against Acuna in like 3 at-bats. He is over 3 with a strikeout. And Freddie Freeman, if he can just work around those 2 guys, I think he can have a very good outing. And he's been much better at home here in Arizona. And like just the last couple of years, he's been very comfortable here in Arizona. And if you look at the splits, only a 199 batting average and a 2.16 ERA here. So I think he can have another solid outing here. He does have some good K upside. When his stuff is on, he can really get a good amount of Ks. And they're only implied 3.5 runs, the lowest run total of the slate. So I think Zach Greinke, really solid spot here. I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there. For my second guy, I was between Bieber and Strasburg, but I'm just going to go with Strasburg because I think he's a much more proven pitcher, and when his stuff is on, he can just be really, really good, and he's been trending in the right direction. The last 2 games against a solid Milwaukee lineup, he got 19 DraftKings points, he got 7 Ks. And against his Cubs lineup, he actually does have some solid BVP as a 28.5% K rate and 77 plate appearances. And a couple of these Cubs guys can strike out a good amount, like Javier Baez, Kyle Schwarber, and a couple of the other guys, maybe Hayward a little bit here and there. Chris Bryant a little bit worse against right-handed pitchers. So he does have some ability to work through this lineup. Obviously, Rizzo is a concern, and like Daniel Murphy. But I think Strasburg can just get some good K upside. And with him trending in the right direction, like I mentioned, that's a really good sign. When the stuff is on, he is one of the best pitchers in the league. So I think with him getting back towards that, as long as he's like healthy in this matchup, that's really been a big concern for him all year long. But he's finally getting those solid, consistent starts. So he can finally get into that consistent groove here. And against a good Cubs lineup, I think he can get it done. So should be good for around 20 DraftKings points, hopefully. Does have a solid shot of getting the win as well, because Hendricks on the other side of the mound can be hit pretty hard, I think, against this Washington lineup. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my SB2. So you got 2 of the best pitchers in baseball, and you still got 4,000 remaining per hitter. So definitely really good look to the lineup so far. And we're going to go with Edwin and Encarnacion here. First up at 4,700, going against his old team in Toronto here, so maybe a small little revenge narrative there. And he's going against Sam Gaviglio. The guy has been really up and down this year and just allowing a good amount of home runs every single game out. So he allows a lot of home runs to left-handed batters and righties, and Edwin has a really good power rate against right-handed pitchers with around like 25 out of the 29 coming against him, and he has a 260 ISO versus righties. So I think he can go deep in this matchup. Feel a little bit comfortable in his old stadium in Toronto. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my first hitter. We're going to go with another Cleveland Indians. It's going to be a pretty chalky stack, but their upside is just so good against Gaviglio with a park upgrade and everything considered. So Jose Ramirez here, he has the stolen base upside and the power upside because Gaviglio can be stolen on, and Ramirez has absolutely been killing the ball against right-handed pitchers, has a 341 ISO against him and over a 400 WOBA. And this Indians lineup, like I said, a lot of upside. They're implied around 5 runs. So I think a guy like Ramirez with the dual kind of upside, the speed and the power, he can go for around 20 DraftKings points and definitely get a good amount of RBIs and stuff. And I think they really can load on some runs against Gaviglio and this Toronto bullpen, which is not very good. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my second hitter. For my third guy, we're going to go with AJ Pollock here. I tried to recommend him the other night for a similar reason, but he wasn't in the lineup. He just has that speed-power combo again here, similar to Ramirez. Going against Anibal Sanchez, he can be easily stolen on. He's allowing 15 stolen bases in 20 games, and Pollock has 10 stolen bases on the year, so he does have some solid power, and he should be around that 2 spot in the lineup. So, like, say whoever's leading off, say like John Jay doesn't get on first, Pollock hits a single, he can definitely get a stolen base against Sanchez, and he has a 46.8% hard hit rate versus righties, so he's hitting the ball very well against them. And going against Sanchez, this is the guy with reverse splits. He's been pretty damn solid against both lefties and righties, but he's still allowing a little bit more to righties this year. And last year, he was absolutely horrific against righties. He allowed over 2 home runs per 9 to them. So I think Pollock is a guy that could get to him. He's never seen Pollock in his career, so maybe Pollock can kind of pick up on the stuff, go deep, or just get a single and a stolen base, hopefully. So at 4,000, a nice value for a guy, considering Pollock's upside when he's like, when his bat is kind of getting hot, he can just have these huge games like we saw at the beginning of the year, like these like 30-point games. So definitely a good upside at 4,000. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there. And for my final guy, the money 6, I'm going to go with Billy McKinney here at 3,600. A really good value going against Shane Bieber. Bieber has been pretty solid this year, but the noticeable thing is that he's been much, much worse against left-handed batters. He's allowing a 398 WOBA to them and a 51% hard hit rate. So I think a guy like McKinney, who's absolutely been crushing the ball recently, going deep like it seems like every other night. The guy has a 283 ISO versus righties and a 47% hard hit rate. And this is going to be a park downgrade for Bieber as well, going in Toronto. McKinney should be in that leadoff spot, so he could get up to around 5 at bats and has good abilities. So at 3,600, very good value. The guy's been showing really good power and good power when he was in the minors this year. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my final guy, the money 6. So you got Greinke, Strasburg, and Encarnacion, Jose Ramirez, AJ Pollock, and Billy McKinney. So that is it. Be sure to drop a like in the video before you head out. Hopefully, like I said, better luck here tonight. Yeah, and you can go check out my NFL DraftKings picks for the week if you haven't already. So good luck tonight, guys, on this 3-game slate, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.